Tonight, 93 new cases of COVID-19 and 14 additional deaths recorded, taking confirmed cases to 47,572 and the death toll to 892. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, in partnership with select quick service restaurants, launched the Better For You program on Monday, observed as World Hypertension Day.
Jamaica has a serious issue as it relates to our health profile in terms of non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases. So we really want to encourage as many Jamaicans as possible to consider what they put in their bodies, to recognize the link between what they eat and their health profile.
Still tonight, tour operators at the Lethe River in Hanover are refuting claims that they have been illegally rafting, despite warnings from the government under the Disaster Risk Management Act.
Bending knees with tears of blood in my eyes. Give us what we need. Let us survive. Hunger isn't boy, hunger is a man's pain.
And fire that reportedly started from an electrical shortage destroyed the Granville police station in St. James earlier today.
Thankfully, there is no indication of arson. We give thanks. From all indications, it's an electrical wiring that has gone faulty.
Good evening. Jamaica has recorded 93 new cases of COVID-19 and 14 additional deaths, taking the total of confirmed cases now to 47,572 and the death toll to 892. Now, of the 93 new cases, there are 43 females and 50 males ranging in age from 7 months to 91 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew with 19 cases, St. Elizabeth recorded 18 cases, St. Catherine 15, St. Thomas and Westmoreland 8 cases each, St. James and Trelawney 7 cases each, Clarendon 4 cases, Manchester and St. Anne 3 cases each, and Portland 1 case. Meanwhile, the 14 deaths were recorded between February 2 and May 17 as follows. An 89-year-old male from St. James, whose death was previously under investigation, and 2 females from the parish. 4 persons from Westmoreland, including 2 males and 2 females. 7 persons from Manchester, including 3 females and 4 males. The deaths recorded in Manchester occurred between March and May of 2021. The island also recorded 120 recoveries, taking the total of recovered persons now to 23,530. In other news tonight, as the government continues its COVID-19 vaccination program, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton is encouraging persons to get vaccinated against the virus, as this is the most effective response at this time.
People are responding. We have had some challenges in terms of supplies, but we do have supplies. Persons can go online or call the 888 One Love number to book their appointments. We have lowered the age to 50, not because all the 60s have taken it up, 60 and over that is, and there's going to be some effort required to push against vaccine hesitancy. And in the weeks and months to come, we intend to do more work in that area. The general advice is that vaccines save lives, and in the context of COVID, it is the most effective response at this point in time. And we definitely want more of the population to take it up. So while we're encouraged that persons are taking it up, we would like to see a lot more, and that has to, however, be twinned the efforts with the availability of the vaccines, and that's something the government is working on actively.
Dr. Tufton noted that even though the COVID-19 cases have decreased since the recent wave, he is cautioning persons not to become complacent.
We're very happy that we have cauterized the recent wave or surge. We would not like to see a third wave or surge. The real issue is the overwhelming of the hospital system. We don't want persons needing hospital care and can't get it because there are too many demands on the system. So what we have seen is the numbers coming down, hospitalization, positivity, reproductive rates, which is good. But we can't get complacent because it's down, but it's still dangerous. And so our advice to the Jamaican people is that self-monitoring, observing the protocols, very important. We will see the back of COVID when sufficient numbers of the population are vaccinated. Until then, it's going to be important for us to ensure that we observe those protocols and protect ourselves.
Still making the news tonight, in response to the growing incidences of non-communicable diseases in Jamaica, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, in partnership with select quick service restaurants across the island, launched the Better For You program on World Hypertension Day that was observed on Monday. In an exclusive interview with our news team yesterday, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton explained how the program was developed.
A few years ago, we, under the Jamaica Moves banner, we did a number of focus groups to determine lifestyle and to determine what behavioral changes that were necessary to promote healthier lifestyles. And what we discerned is that more and more Jamaicans are eating out, unlike 25 years ago when a home-cooked meal was the standard, for all sorts of reasons. And that our chain restaurants were the primary sources of food. And so it was very necessary for us not to try to tell people not to go where they can get food, but to promote information around the food choices that they had in these stores, and in doing so to encourage healthier option choices in keeping with pushing a more healthier health profile. So coming out of that, we engaged a number of these quick service restaurants. We discussed with them their menu options, what they had, what they could put together, and then of course designated this symbol, the Better For You tick, which is a green circle with a tick, to be placed beside those foods that are the healthier options in those locations, and therefore giving a consumer some information to make those choices.
Dr. Tufton further explained the target group for this initiative.
It's targeting everybody. Jamaica has a serious issue as it relates to our health profile in terms of non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases. So most Jamaicans, over 70%, die from cardiovascular disease, cancers, diabetes, that sort of thing. All of those are related to lack of physical activity and consumption habits. So we really want to encourage as many Jamaicans as possible to consider what they put in their bodies, to recognize the link between what they eat and their health profile, and to suggest to them that it is a problem that we have. And in their own interests, they should consider taking more care to determine on what the foods that they eat. And the Better For You designation is intended to say these are healthier options within that location.
The Health and Wellness Minister also outlined the activities surrounding the Better For You program.
Our approach is twofold. First of all, it's to prevent. So the activities around food choices, knowing your health status, physical activity, is building up your immune system so you prevent or avoid getting these diseases and certainly premature death. But beyond that, it's also to cure. So we do have an active program where if you are diagnosed with any of these symptoms, you have the health centers, you have the hospitals that you can go through, you have the National Health Fund that provides the medication. So we cover all bases. But as they say, prevention is always better and cheaper than cure. And what we have not done enough of is focus on the behavioral sciences as part of health-seeking behavior. And that's what the Better For You menu is. It's part of that arsenal of encouraging healthier options in foods.
The program will be available initially at KFC, Wendy's, Popeyes, Burger King, Little Caesar, and Juicy, with menu items that adhere to the dietary guidelines of Jamaica. Tune in to our full interview with Dr. Tufton following this newscast. Still tonight, tour operators at the Lethe River in Hanover are refuting claims that they have been illegally rafting despite warnings from the government under the Disaster Risk Management Act. Our news team visited the area earlier today and spoke with some of the tour operators. One tour operator, Anton Gray, said that the group is not disrespecting, nor do they have any ill regard for the orders put in place by the government.
Liti has been a little community being established via by the tourism industry throughout these years. Fully operating. We all know our protocols where tourism lies. We all are here protecting and serving thus worthy cause. Now today, to date, it's been filed in the media that we are operating illegally in Liti, in the parish of Hanover, taking care of Jamaica's best interest, which is the tourism industry. Now come to terms to think of it, thanks to the pandemic, for say, because when the pandemic hits, the operational organizations were closed, leaving the community to suffer immensely. There was no such regard from none of the stakeholders that operate in our community. And I put this point to perspective. In Liti, there were other organizations than just one. We once had tubing, bamboo rafting, kayaking, zip lining, white water rafting. Now, during the pandemic, when everywhere was closed down, we were operational here, entertaining, highlighting Jamaica to the fullest. To the fullest, we all were, this little community. And today to date, it's been filed to the media that we are illegal. Come on. If that is what explains illegalities where tourism are concerned in Jamaica, I've been in it for long. I've been in it for years.
Mr. Gray is also pleading with the government to assist them as they are struggling to survive and provide for their families due to the economic fallout caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The operational companies here won't and will not have all of us. This community has been highlighted by us. This community, we have established ourselves through many moons. Check the social media network, the platform of the social media. That's where we are. No, today to date, as me say, it comes a fight. Now what we need is all them relevant authorities who knows what we need. Please, please, we're begging. Y'all, Jamaica want to see me fall and bend the knees and beg for your the cars. Give me the camera. Bending knees with tears of blood in my eyes. Give us what we need. Let us survive. Hunger isn't boy. Hunger is a man's pain. Please, all them stakeholders, all them relevant agencies. We even go as far as we would have said to the operational organization here that if you are overcrowded, you are overwhelmed with guests, you can call on us. All we need, all that we need. We've got returning guests. We've got thousands of guests in the United States who are coming here for us. For us. Without great jobs, you've got no such recommendation from no one.
Claude Gray, another tour operator, had a message for their political representative.
Mr. Andrew Holness, you remember me. Another promise again. You come to a village before the COVID, before you go in a power. We ask you one question. What can you do for our community when you get in power? You say, put you in seat and you will show us. And now, this is what you're showing us. You only send the big guys to come to do what they can do, and the small guys stay behind and follow. As to me, Mr. Andrew Holness, I expect better from you, sir. This is what put food on every man's table in our village. Not only who working at rafting, but others who on the side same way, community-wise. Well, when the big man running this, nothing from the tourists not staying here. Because you can't go a shop to buy a bottle of rum punch them. Shaka giving them everything. All of that they come on their boat with to Shaka. And they tell them, keep their luggage in the bus. They don't bring it to us. So when we finish work, no tip, nothing. Thank you. Shit, bye-bye. So nothing no leaving at the community. And the big man no send nothing at the community. Nothing him no do to the community. Even the road, what for work pan where I'm carrying tourist pan is a shame right now.
Carol Lee also refuted claims made that they are not observing the health and safety protocols.
A person cannot just look at a picture and say, oh, this is what is happening on a regular basis, because it really isn't. This is a very deep rural community. It's been like this for years upon years. We have generations and generations of family who we're still here doing the same thing we were doing 100 years ago. Nothing has changed really. The rafting that came in, it did a whole lot for the community because it brings income in. Not only that, it does expose our kids to the outside world or what's coming in. But they can't just use one picture to say, oh, they're not social distancing, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they are. Now, we saw what Mr. Andrew Holderness, our Prime Minister, said, and I heard it. And a lot of us as poor people, we heard it very loud and clear. Because if you're gonna say, oh, the people who are going to the little shops to buy their gill of oil or their little half of bread, they're the ones spreading the virus. Well, I didn't know that it was only poor people who would buy half a bread to catch corona. So that's very disrespectful in and of itself. And when you want to come down on a small community, sensitize them then, teach them. Go in there, offer them masks if they don't have any. Them have some little cheap one, and they do have their masks. So, but that's the only thing they can come up with, to say, oh, they're not doing this, they ain't doing that. So what's the problem? I don't see a big old deal. They are social distancing. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe not 100% of the time, but who is?
In news from St. James, fire that reportedly started from an electrical shortage destroyed the Granville police station earlier today. Reports coming into our news center tonight from the Granville police are that an officer on duty at the station smelled smoke at approximately 12 a.m. and went to investigate. He later discovered that fire was coming from a rear section of the building where the electrical wire was connected. The fire department was summoned, and Deputy Superintendent, second in charge of the St. James Fire Department, Rudolph Seaton, said that it took one fire unit to extinguish the blaze.
At about 12:16 a.m., we received and responded to a call of fire at the Granville police station. On arrival, a structure was seen fully engulfed. To that incident, we have one water tender, one pumper, and an ambulance which responded, along with the crew members. What I can say at this time is that the building is a total loss, and, very regrettably at this time.
Now, the scene was also visited by Member of Parliament for West Central St. James, Marlene Malahoo Fort, who said that the areas that the Granville police station served will temporarily be serviced from the Irwin police station.
The station has been burnt out, and you're seeing for yourself since we're here on location. Thankfully, there is no indication of arson. We give thanks. From all indications, it's an electrical wiring that has gone faulty, which then leads to other issues. More importantly, I think the people need to know that the policing service for the area will temporarily be provided to them from the Irwin post. So you can be assured that although the station is down, the policing services are not. And reports will just have to be made there. My quick look, and from the report, we were able to save the guns and ammunition, very important. We really don't want them to explode and cause bigger issues or to get into the wrong hands. The building will need a complete redo. I spoke before coming here with our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, and already discussions are on the way to move as expeditiously as possible to have the infrastructure done over. Further discussions will take place, and I think in due course, Deputy Prime Minister Chang will give some update on that.
Former president of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, Mark Carr Jarrett, who also visited the scene, commended the police for their hard work and implored the government to rebuild the station bigger and better.
We'd just like to take this opportunity to really commend the JCF and Superintendent Ellis and his team and Sergeant Mackenzie and his team here for the service they're doing in really quite confined circumstances in serving a vastly expanded service area out of this station, and would implore the government that we rebuild this station bigger and better than it is. There have been conversations in the past about expanding it, but when Barnet Limited sold the land to Gore for the housing development, we insisted that this section here behind the fence to the wall be cut off and added to these premises, so that a proper full-scale multi-service facility could be built for the police officers, and that they could operate out of adequate and modern facilities for the expanded environment in which they are now serving. And they have been serving with diligence and professionalism to date. So I look forward to talking to the Minister Horace Chang, about how we can collaborate to rebuild this facility as quickly as possible.
In the meantime, District Officer for the Jamaica Fire Brigade's JFB's Westmoreland Division, Norris Mitchell, is imploring residents to refrain from placing building materials such as marl or sand on fire hydrants. He says that these materials will cause a blockage that will impede the effectiveness of the hydrants in allowing firefighters access to a steady flow of water during an operation. The district officer said that for firefighters, it is very hard to work with such situations, especially when they go out to inspect the hydrants. Mr. Mitchell, who was addressing the monthly meeting of the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation held in Savannah Lamar recently, also informed the meeting that a standby generator has been installed at the Savannah Lamar Fire Station in the parish. Mr. Mitchell further stated that the generator was commissioned into service in April, which means that whenever the power is out, they will still be up and running. We go to news from the capital now, as fear has gripped residents of McIntyre Villa in the Dunkirk community, this following months of killings there. Residents are calling on the authorities to put a zone of special operations in place. When our news team visited the Dunkirk area, one grandmother explained that her 12-year-old granddaughter narrowly escaped injury yesterday after gunmen traded bullets in the Dunkirk community. She was in her kitchen preparing breakfast.
You have a gang food going on, years after years. My born and grow come seed. But a time now it can't done now. A long time talk when it can't done now. The resident them ready. Them fed up, but the people them afraid for talk. Me know me fed up, but me attack my side. Every time gunshot fire in my house. Since morning, my 12-year-old in the kitchen. I tied up the kitchen, and the bullet passed Deandra face. And it unfair. Me I'm a pregnant daughter, and I'm a 5-year-old. I'm nobody in a war. I'm not busy with nobody. He's a sickly girl. I'm for take a poor. I'm not busy with nobody. A fool shot in the community. I know I can't know what started, and it can't done. And I years it a go on, and a foolish know that. And every time shot fire in my house, and night time I shot a fire, I come out from bed. See my room shoot up there. The first time them shoot up, them lick off my big clock off my wall. Now them lick off my blender. Every time. It unfair. It unfair. I'm nobody in a war. So I don't know why. I live uncomfortable. My mother house, everybody know my mother. Everybody, my mother. 43 years, my there. 43 years. Who come see me, who dead gonna leave me? 43 years. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. The only thing I can say now, is them for just drop Zozo in here. And when them drop it in there, them just drop it in there for stay in there. Them just drop it and them do them own check same way. Me a beg Paul will intervene in this. Because my daughter get shot to the only thing I got here, sorry. Sorry, and keep my baby in one house. That means I'm not safe. At night time I shut a fire and come off my bed now. If you don't want to go look to the big hole in the window, you know. And see one more in my kitchen window. Every time shot fire in my house. Come on, man. I'm not busy with no why.
Now, police sources say the war is between Bryden Street and Bray Street that are a stone's throw away from each other. Persons on Bray Street have accused residents on Bryden Street of being behind the ongoing gang feud in the area. Another resident of the area who explained that her house has been firebombed says all they want is peace.
Gunshots been firing every day, every night, everywhere, all about. But last week, something happened around Bray Street. And me hear say them a come firebomb my house. But me say me not take it serious because me not have nobody that throw firebomb. So Friday night, me and my grandpa them everybody in here. So me hear something drop on the house top and one of them say, Grandma, something that drop. You see by the time I look, me and my next granddaughter say, what's the fire? When we run out of this, we see. So me don't know what they want about me and my grandpa them for. This needs to stop. And them mother dead and me alone and them 4. And plus other children will live in here. 3 live in there so with our baby, my sister with our grandson. 1 run a front. What is for? And them a boy, them a fire gun, them a do things and they not sorry for them parents. Because parents alone a feel it, you know. Because when them a fire bomb me and my grandpa them now. And burn out we know. We have to start life all over again. Where you need to stop? Because this not going away, brother. With the pandemic we are going. With the pandemic we are going, what the war for? Every day gunshot. See a while ago, shot just fire a while ago and police there. You need to stop, brother.
Continuing with the news tonight, as the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, continues its Wanted Wednesdays campaign, a wanted man from St. James who was featured on the JCF's platforms on Wednesday, May 12, was captured in St. Thomas yesterday. He is 31-year-old Sanjay Hodari Nelson, otherwise called Odari. Nelson was wanted for the murder of 23-year-old Lincoln Atkinson in Backwood District, Pimento Hill in St. James on September 13, 2016. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 5:45 p.m., Atkinson was at home when he was pounced upon by armed assailants who opened gunfire, hitting him multiple times. He was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. Intensive investigations led to Nelson being identified as a wanted person in relation to Atkinson's murder. Hence, he was featured in the JCF's Wanted Wednesdays campaign. Intelligence led the St. Thomas police to an area of Leith Hall in the parish. However, Nelson was not found. He was handed over to the police by a minister of religion. The police expressed special thanks to members of the public for participating and sharing information with them by calling Crime Stop at 311 and are encouraging residents to continue to help them keep you safe. Detectives assigned to the Central Police in Kingston have listed 3 men as wanted for serious crimes within the division. These men are being urged to turn themselves in immediately. They are 27-year-old Shanrick Nugent, otherwise called Dan, whose last known address is Fleet Street in Kingston. He is wanted in connection with a murder on Fleet Street in 2014. He is approximately 6 feet tall, of dark complexion, and has the letter K tattooed on his neck. 29-year-old Ramon Coke, otherwise called Chulups, whose last known address is Foster Lane, Kingston. He is wanted in connection with a case of shooting with intent. He is of dark complexion and has Thug Life tattooed on his upper left arm. Also, 28-year-old Everton MacDonald, otherwise called Ever, whose last known address is East Street, Kingston. He is wanted in connection with a murder along George's Lane, Kingston in 2020. He is of dark complexion, medium build, and has a scorpion tattooed on his right hand. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Shanrick Nugent, Ramon Coke, and Everton MacDonald is being asked to contact the Central Police at 876-922-5076, Crime Stop at 311, or the nearest police station. Still making Mello TV news, the Westmoreland police are reporting that a search to apprehend a 15-year-old teen who reportedly fatally shot his 6-year-old cousin while in their yard along Darling Street in Savannah Lamar in the parish on Monday ended yesterday after the teenager turned himself over to the police. The Westmoreland police reported that the accused teen was accompanied by an attorney-at-law to the Savannah Lamar police station where he was questioned and placed in lockup. He was being sought for fatally shooting 6-year-old Jadane Miller. Reports from the police coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 2:30 p.m., Jadane and his older cousin, McCoy, were inside their yard when McCoy brandished a handgun and started to play with the weapon. He then opened fire, hitting Jadane in the region of his upper back before fleeing the location. Family members who were inside the yard rushed Jadane to the Savannah Lamar Hospital, where he died while being treated. A search was then launched for the accused teen, identified as McCoy Morris, otherwise called Mikey, of the same address. Following yesterday's visit by the Westmoreland police to the family of young Jadane, Deputy Superintendent of Police in charge of operations for the Westmoreland Division, Adrian Hamilton, explained the breakdown in parenting coupled with disregard for law and order that resulted in such an act.
I wish to commence by offering, on behalf of the Westmoreland Police Division, sincere condolences to the family, relatives of young Jadane Miller, 6 years old, who was sadly cut down by a bullet to his back. Agents of the Child Protection and Family Service Agency have been informed and are actively on the ground with our community safety and security branch personnel. This incident, as sad as it is, brings into sharp focus the culture of a seemingly unquenchable thirst to illegally possess firearms, coupled with the senseless propensity to resort to violence, even unprovoked in many circumstances. You add to this mix poor or non-existent support systems and structures, as well as bad parenting, and what you have is a toxic combination that have significantly contributed to the loss of lives for many residents and citizens of Westmoreland, but in particular to the young amongst us.
DSP Hamilton further outlined that 17 juveniles from the parish have been arrested and charged with major crimes since the start of the year.
Since the start of 2021, 17 juveniles have been charged for major crimes, ranging from abduction, rape, grievous sexual assault, assault at common law, and illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. Now, this tells us that the coordinated approaches that is necessary for us to combat this scourge is very important. Because even in this instance, you have a situation where the life of a youngster, 6 years old, has been lost. A 15-year-old currently being sought by the police. So both lives have been impacted negatively, as well as the family members that this matter touch. So, we will continue as a police unit to ensure that we implement our early intervention strategies, the iPad program, which is a mentorship program conceptualized by retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Novel Grant, That is still currently ongoing in the parish, where we seek to mentor young persons to steer them away at-risk youths from the life of crime or negative subcultures. Additionally, we also partner with the Child Protection and Family Service Agency, the Victim Support Division from the Ministry of Justice, and all the available resources that we have to pour into ensuring that we affect the lives positively of youngsters in the community.
And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories as the Trade Bond Limited is reporting that it has launched an investigation into a number of fraudulent pre-shipment inspection certificates, and this matter has been referred to the Protection Division at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Darrell Vaz, yesterday announced that a Jamaican-owned company, Rock Mobile, will be the country's third telecoms provider. But first, we'll now go to a break and then join Christopher Scott with the very latest in sports.